This is Wall Hey guys, coming at you live from my grandparents' house. I got some wisdom, got some things to focus on, and a lot of a lot of enlightenment. I'll say that. Talk with my grandma, my grandfather, and my grandfather went to bed, and I got to talk to my grandma. And for me, practice meditation. I was able to uh, experience a different type of meditation where I was just sitting there and on the couch and I was just focusing on some phrases. The phrases are pay attention to the area around me and don't be sad. I just kept repeating that and letting myself get into that meditation, kind of it was a heightened sense of awareness, and it's really nice. It's really good for me. And today I feel accomplished. There's some things that I perceived as problems that I could foresee myself having problems with in the future, and I talked about those things, and I got a lot of wisdom, and I feel more prepared and more relaxed. Uh, it's basically, you know, in short, spirituality is the biggest part of my life. It's my priority. Um, there was the problem of thinking about my rent. I was kind of being driven insane by that. To be honest, I admitted to that. I spoke to my grandmother about that and came to the conclusion that I was like, why was I doing this? I don't want this. And I came to my senses and was able to give an example of my father and his ability, my grandfather too, and other men's abilities, but my father and my grandfather and their ability to block things out. And I said to myself, well, I could do that. This is the one thing that I keep thinking about that's torturing myself. I said, I will not torture myself. So I did that, and very quickly I felt that headache, so to speak, of thinking about that thing, which is my rent, uh, blocking it out. And I was also thinking about how, situations in which I feel triggered, uh, that I'm no longer concerned about, which is interesting. After meditation and counsel with my grandmother, I was taking notes and journaling about how during times of basically I don't need to do anything. And one thing that she said to me is I don't have to prove anything. And for me, it's just back to that meditation. I'm going to continue to practice that. Be aware of the area around me and don't be sad. Even when I'm feeling insidious, even when I'm feeling, you could say evil, so to speak. The same thing. Pay attention to the area around me and do not be sad. Uh, I have such faith and understanding and an awareness of spirituality, and I realize that constantly there are things taking place that I do not see. And if I am feeling in any way triggered or, stressed out that it's temporary. And my biggest concern during that period of time should just be being aware, being small, being silent, being spiritual, and not being sad. Uh, and to explain further, um, because that's if I am if I'm not if I'm focusing on things incorrectly and I'm feeling emotional and feeling sad, I'll say or do something that I'll regret later. So it's very simple. Just to be aware of my area around me and don't be sad. And I was talking to my grandma, I was talking about how I feel like I'm on a boat that's going down a river. And the boat's going by itself. And what I've been doing is hyper focusing on the boat moving forward. My grandmother made the comment that I'm overthinking and I'm trying too hard and doing this, and absolutely agreed with her. And so I'm not doing that anymore. Uh, I imagine myself on that boat. This is where the idea came from. Instead of directing my focus on the boat, you know, this is kind of like a spiritual. Uh, it is a spiritual metaphor. So doing that, just focusing on the air around me, looking around me as that boat goes down the river, and not being sad. And yeah, it's helping me. So yeah, and the reason for the boat metaphor uh, is that I naturally push things forward. Things are naturally moving forward around me, and with my trust and belief and understanding of spirituality and faith, and my natural drive, if you will, I don't have to worry about any of that. It it is just part of me. It just happens. So no need to focus on any of that, or should I say overthink. And so I'm sure there's other people who have similar problems or similar behaviors, I should say, to that, and I hope that helps somebody. Uh, I'm definitely going to practice a lot more meditation. Uh, I really like that meditation. I think the spiritual word is mantra. That spiritual mantra and the experience I got from it was very, very calm. It was really nice. So I'm just going to continue. And so, yeah, I do feel accomplished today. I do feel different. Very different as far as thinking and mentality. And of course, looking back and on past situations that I regret or that I feel, not good about, how in those situations, if I was paying attention to the area around me and not being sad and being mindful, things would have been different. So. It's also kind of a statement for me, or kind of a declaration, because somewhere in my mind, I would think that, let me phrase this better. And this is for me. This is definitely for me saying this. Is that I refuse to believe that my part in spirituality should be actively controlled by me during those types of situations. Because when stressful situations arise, but I refuse to believe that any action by myself during those times should be should it should not be anything but specifically me being mindful, aware of the area around me, and not being sad or letting my feelings get to me. Of course, there's other actions I could take, but I refuse. I absolutely refuse, because I have a greater understanding, and I know I do, on how spirituality works and how things are working in life. So that's kind of a promise I've made to myself, or should I say a declaration. I don't know if I would use the word vow, but that'd be a good vow to make. And I can think of situations in which helping other people during stressful times or certain situations, but that all comes naturally. My supernatural abilities it's different. It's a whole different type of situation, and still I'm aware of the area around me, and I'm being mindful, but my supernatural abilities are manifesting. So part of me wants to argue and say, well, what about those situations? Am I just going to stand by and do nothing? Of course not. But I will do nothing in certain regards, but by me being, aware of my area and not sad and being mindful, my supernatural abilities will still manifest when necessary to help others in need, or help myself in need if it's that kind of situation. So, yeah, I think it's a vow specifically now, not a promise or a declaration. So that's a new vow that I'm making. I'm making it to God. During stressful times, be aware of the area around me and do not be sad. And I say specifically not be sad. I mean, I can think of other emotions, but it is sadness that triggers me. I feel sad. I feel sad for another person or other people or myself. So that is specifically the emotion that I'm targeting. That's the base emotion that evolves into other feelings. So yeah. Thing I like about vows, I've made several vows to God, to myself, is that make, I don't have to, they're a solid foundation. I don't have to think about it. I automatically remember. So alright, y'all. Appreciate y'all for letting me talk, and still resting, recovering, and I'm doing good. Doing better than I was. And I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. And I'll talk to y'all later. Alright.